Welcome back. I'm Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. The haze of unanswered questions has not been cleared yet, even on the first anniversary of one of the deadliest aviation disasters in history. The anguish about missing accountability and the long pending report is shared by the kin of other victims. Another common assertion that shreds the feelings of survivors' kin is that compensation cannot be used as a case closed button. 1 year after the crash, as per reports, the investigators are likely to delay issuing the final report, citing pending analysis of the plane's engines. According to reports, instead of a final report, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau will likely issue a status report focused on the reasons behind the delay this week. The GE Aerospace-made engines have been at the center of the investigation into the Air India plane crash. The plane had crashed seconds after taking off from Ahmedabad airport on the 12th of June 2025, killing 260 people. A preliminary report released last year stated that the Boeing 787's engine fuel control switches moved almost simultaneously from run to cut off, leaving both engines deprived of fuel moments after the aircraft took off. In April, investigators conducted engine testing and visited France last month to carry out an analysis of the engine management unit. As per international rules, the investigators have to submit a final report within a year of the accident, but sometimes probes take longer. So if it is not completed, then an interim statement should be issued by the analysis on each anniversary. For the past year, Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau and the Civil Aviation Ministry have mostly stayed quiet about the Air India AI-171 crash investigation so far. They have only shared the preliminary report and a few press statements to respond to or deny foreign media reports. The bigger question then arises in the AI-171 crash investigation. How did the fuel control switches move from run to cut off right after takeoff? 1 year after the Ahmedabad AI crash, victims' families still await closure. When will the truth about the probe finally come out? When will we have a final answer on what led to that aviation tragedy? Well, joining us at this point is Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert. We also have Vandana Singh, aviation expert, live with us. Air Commodore Rana Sanjeev Medirata is live with us. Former Indian Air Force officer, Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force officer, also joins us on the broadcast. Sanjay Lazar, let me begin with you first. It is the eve of the 1 year anniversary to that deadly crash, but still more questions than answers. Why? Sanjay.
Good evening, Uday. Thank you for having me in your show. And yes, it's we are hours away from 1 year anniversary of that sad tragedy that we witnessed live on our screens 1 year ago. It's sad that we are no closer to the truth, as you say, than we were 11 months ago when the preliminary report came out. I, for one, did not even expect the final report to come out on the 1 year anniversary, and this I've known for months, because the AAIB has been so slow in handling issues. Today we find out that the subject matter expert on the 787 exited the team almost 6 months ago. We also find that the lone survivor was only interviewed in March this year. I mean, I don't know what kept them so busy for 8 months that they could not go and meet him. He was in Ahmedabad all this while. And I find we've been dragging our feet. Many of us, including me, had suggested at the preliminary report stage that this was a report that was designed to, please other people in other countries, corporates, rather than get to the bottom of the truth. And I still hold that. And I think what we'll see tomorrow, like you say, I believe at the end of day or probably before daybreak in the US, we will see a interim status report coming out so that it doesn't bother the prayer ceremonies, etc. tomorrow morning or during the day. And this will take another 6 months at the least. We've recently also seen, reports by some media, including yours, where Mr. Thapar has been interviewed. He said he's seen, went to the morgue and so on. So there's so many, wheels within wheels. The situation is getting murkier. And unfortunately, Uday, we are looking like the laughing stock of the aviation world. We're really, we are not cutting much ice in the global aviation market. And we are the fastest growing aviation space.
But why is that, Sanjay? Why is that? Is it because there are so many different theories to be examined? Is it because the AIB is dithering and coming out with one final standing in conclusion after, particularly after the flack they got for that preliminary report? Is it because the engine findings have still not come, as is the official reason being given? Why is that?
One reason. Aviation in this country is not run by aviators. It is run by babus, number one. Number two, very important, you do not have independence of either the DGCA or the AAIB. It's all in name. We should have had a CAA body long ago. It was proposed 15 years ago. Uday, you look at any other developing nation, they have independent setups. Everybody here is subject to whims and fancies of politicians and bureaucrats and focus groups. Whether it's a Boeing, Airbus, anybody. Put a pilot in charge, put an engineer in charge, put somebody in charge. I mean, we are now 70 years in our independence. We are going to have 3,000 aircraft, 300 airports. We've still got some babu who comes from the coal ministry, somebody who comes from, please, aviation is a serious business. Safety is not an accident. Let's remember that axiom. We can't deal with it like this. That's the reason. We have treated it like a joke. We went on a 787 preliminary inquiry without somebody who'd sat in a 787. You went, I can understand if you had an Air Force pilot or a civilian pilot, you had nobody in the first 30 days. So what are we doing? Sorry, these things rile me up because I have been for years shouting this, and unfortunately our government doesn't seem to listen. Uday.
Let me in fact quickly also bring in Vandana Singh into the conversation at this point. Vandana Singh, you may have a different reason as to why the crash happened. I may have a different one. Our experts on the panel may have their different theories as well. But when will we finally come out with one official conclusion through the official body handling the investigation and the ones tasked with coming out with that final report? When will we finally know why that tragedy happened, why the families lost their loved ones on that plane when it went down in Ahmedabad?
Good evening, Uday, and thank you for having me on your show. And good evening to all the NewsX viewers. Indeed, as you rightfully mentioned, this is the world's worst 787 tragedy that's happened. And until the data comes out correctly, we should not look at the deadline. Now, the deadline has been missed. It is tomorrow. I'd rather that all hypotheses, all the theories be looked at rather than just finger pointing or blame gaming that's happening. What has been happening for last 1 year is exactly what we are seeing. 10 months back, you're getting after the pilots. You're going and checking the psyche of the pilots. You're going into that side. You're not really even talking to the lone survivor, I think Mr. Vishwas, his name is, that who complained of flickering lights, who complained of a loud bang. Nothing is getting tested. No simulator findings, no nothing. So how do you come to a conclusion? There is no conclusion over here because every hypothesis will be challenged. When the final report comes out, it can be challenged. This is a world disaster that's happened. And as we speak, there are 787s flying all over the world. We don't want another disaster to happen. So when it comes to safety, there has to be excellence. Safety excellence is non-negotiable there. And it is a sorry state of affairs that we see, not even the 50% theory working where we say that, look, 50% let's talk about human error, 50% let's look at the machine, let's look at the systems. Nobody's looked at that. Nobody's looked at the machine. Was it the FedEx? Was it the electrical glitch? Was it a software malfunction? Where are the EE-Bay pictures? Where is the data? When there is no data, how do you decode? Instead, you get after the psyche, the pilot, and all of that. Please go back to what happened on Hudson Bay, the famous movie Sully that we all saw, where it shows how a pilot is actually fighting with FAA and NTSB and actually showing that how he saved the lives and how it could have crashed. And in this case, we have not even given a 50% benefit of doubt and checked the systems, the stakeholders, the Honeywell, the GE, the Boeing as such. It's actually been a joke. So yes, Uday, let the data come. Let's not look at the deadline. Let's go with the data and let's hope that the data comes out properly. Over to you, Uday.
Ekomro Medirata, the victim's family still, of course, await closure. What are your thoughts as we approach this one-year anniversary of this deadly crash on when that closure will finally come in for them?
Hello there and fellow panelists. Yeah, it is true that they do not have the right people in the inquiry and the investigation board. They should have had a 787 qualified person there. But the fact remains, the main problem which had come up was the preliminary reports which were given were really not reports, and they were not actually consolidated reports as should have been given. And it creates a lot of doubts in the mind of the people, more so because there are multiple agencies starting from the NGG and the Transportation Board of America and all other agencies. In fact, France and England is also involved because of some components. So it is true that how does the valves come from run to cut? That is the question, and they do not have an answer for that even today. They've been going in different directions, as you've been told just now, that they've been going into the human errors or somebody's played a trick. But the fact is, they are not coming out with the preliminary reports. And now 1 year has passed. Now they would naturally ask for those 3 months extension, which is authorized because of the multi-party investigation. But the fact remains that we are nowhere close to the closure of the inquiry and the closure for the people and the families who suffered this loss. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Let me, in fact, quickly also rope in at this point Group Captain Devnath. Group Captain Devnath, that delay in the closure report, in the final report, of course, does delay the closure for the families, does lead the families to continue to ask questions. What explains this delay? When do you believe we'll finally have an answer to why the plane went down that day? And Group Captain Devnath, also, with the world looking at us as well, do you believe this is a very important moment to have an answer and a credible answer to what led to that tragedy?
Definitely, Uday. Boeing makes thousands of aircrafts. Hundreds of Boeing 787 are flying around the world, most of them in the United States itself. All passengers and passenger associations would like that the aircraft be 100% safe. In case there is any design flaw, design and drawing flaw, that it must be brought out very clearly so that necessary modifications and design changes can be done by competent authorities. Uday, what happens in case there are many witnesses? Then each witness will have a different point of view during aircraft accident board investigation. DGCA tries to control it. Aircraft accident investigation board tries to control it. Other agencies, Boeing would like to save reputation of its aircraft. Aircraft engine manufacturer, say in this case GE, would like to save reputation of their engine because that engine is being used not only in this aircraft but also versions of this engine are being used in other aircraft also. Now, say the particular fuel cutoff switch in this case has been made by Honeywell. Honeywell has already given a statement that similar or same switch is being used by Boeing and other aircraft and other variants too. And Honeywell says that there is nothing wrong with their switch. Their switch cutoff and on-off positions are very scientifically designed, and a trained pilot can never mishandle the switch. Stakeholders also will be various pilots association. Say in India, we have Airline Pilot Association of India. In India, we also have Federation of Indian Pilots who would like to save reputation of any pilot. They will not like that pilots be blamed and be made a scapegoat. And last but not least, there will be friends and relatives of the victims who died in a crash who are waiting for a true and nothing else but truth report. Now, Uday, in Western countries, especially the insurance companies play a very important role. The insurance companies are paying for the aircraft insurance, they are paying for the passenger insurance, and they would definitely like that truth comes out. Say in India, this Air India was flying this aircraft. So Tata's also have got a stake. They also have to, save the reputation of their company. So airline company also does not mind that even an iota of doubtful shadow falls on operations of on the prestige and esteem value of the airline. But Uday, digital flight data recorder tells everything. I have been part of many aircraft crashes in my Air Force career. Three, four of them on fighters, at least one on transport aircraft, at least one on helicopter, and one on a drone accident. Uday, digital flight data, if interpreted without any bias, that means all the stakeholders should be sitting there. The digital flight data recorder device gives all data. It should not be misinterpreted. It should not be manipulated, and the data must not be hidden, or selective data must not be used by any stakeholder to prove that he is right and blame somebody else is blameworthy. So, Uday, I think time has come that NTSB at USA, National Transport Safety Board, plays this game and ensures that all stakeholders are given 100% transparency. The cockpit voice data recorder, the digital flight data recorder interpretation, how it has been done, interpreted by whom, must be shared with the pilots association and with relatives of the people who died in that air crash. Yes, Uday?
Yes, indeed. Let me, in fact, bring that back to you, Sanjay Lazar. But, as you said, perhaps in the next 48 hours, we may get a further update, of course, on this report. But will that, be the final closure for families, or do you believe there will still be answers? If that report is then criticized, dissected in the media, lashed out at by others, because you saw what happened when the preliminary findings came out.
I don't believe you will get a final report. You will get a status tomorrow. I believe tomorrow, and tomorrow evening, actually, specifically. I also don't believe that it's the end of the road for closure. Families will never get closure, because until the final report is out and it satisfies, all the families who are left behind. I have been such a family. Okay, I have lost my entire family 40 years ago in a bombing aircraft. So I have never got closure. I know so many others of us. I have handled at least 5 air accidents in my 40-year career with the Air India Express as well as Indian Airlines during these years, and I've dealt with, passengers, crew, families. So I know what it means, what it feels. So let me tell you, closure can never happen when you lose somebody. There could be something close to closure, and that would be, we owe it to the dead to get them a true, honest, independent, clear report. I pray that at some stage, maybe in the next 3 to 6 months, we find it, and whatever the truth is, as bitter as it has to be, let's come out with it at some stage in a transparent manner. Not this leaking of one line of a CVR. Obviously, you had the CVR. Why did you not share more? Innuendos and all these kind of things just don't cut it. If it has been something has been murky, let's come out with it at some point. If it's not, if it's something to do with the aircraft or the engine, let's say so, and let's move on, because in the families are waiting, the passengers are waiting, Indian aviation is waiting. The world is watching. There are 1,477 787s flying today. If there is something wrong, and we've seen a spate of 787 incidents in the last 1 year or 1.5 years, okay, small or large, we've seen some questionable actions. So we need to move on. And I think, we are doing a disservice to those 260 who died last year, plus millions of other passengers who fly. The government and both these agencies need to get together, the FAA, the CAA, everybody, and put this behind us, really. And that would be the best tribute to those who passed away 1 year ago today.
Yes.
Today.
Yes, absolutely. Now, are we any closer to that final answer, Vandana Singh, according to you? You of course saw that report that had come out in a recent magazine that again was debated about, dissected, offered a different theory, which was obviously quite contrary to what the preliminary probe was showing. We have seen various other theories also come out through social media and experts as well. You know, are we getting a sense? Are we at least in the right direction of what happened? Or do you believe this is just these various theories and reports are just confusing experts and and close aviation watchers?
Thank you, Uday. You're dot on. At this point in time, no, we are nowhere close to it. There are lots of hypotheses. There are lots of dots that need to be joined. A conclusive report needs to come out. As I said, we don't now need to look at the deadline. Rather, we should look at the truth. We should decode it, and it should come out in a quality manner. As for me, the lasting legacy of AI-171 should be a stronger, safer, and a resilient aviation system, and not what we are seeing today. I also spoke about safety excellence. That should remain non-negotiable. So yes, the truth has to come out because we need stronger systems. We need safer skies and need a better oversight for the future. So it is extremely important. And yes, the world is looking at us, Uday, and we need to come out with conclusive answers.
And
I also don't expect
has
anything tomorrow.
Also, has accountability been taken by anyone, Air Commodore Medirat, or has that been evaded? You're on mute.
Okay. What I was saying, there are more 787s flying in the air, so you need to have accountability and credibility so that they also keep flying and they are safe. Like just now she said, we need the safety of the aviation also.
Yeah.
But they do have all the data. They do have various data. They do have simulator data. They have CVRs. And if they've just given one sentence out of that CVR, I would hope and believe that they would have a very good reason for not doing it at that time. And they're waiting for the right opportunity with other parameters which they work out and then they come out with it. And I would just like to believe that they will have some reason for it.
I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. Group Captain Devnath, last word to you, 30 seconds. Obviously a delay expected. Maybe a status report comes out, maybe it doesn't. But final report, what, another 6 months? Or could it take another year?
Uday, all stakeholders have to be honest.
I know it's tough to put a timeline.
Even if their fault is there, they should own up their fault. They should own up their fault so that they can modify the aircraft for future use. Yes, Uday?
All right, let's leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. Of course, we will be covering this extensively on the anniversary day. That, of course, is tomorrow. It's not a happy anniversary, but it is an anniversary all the same. And it is an anniversary where the families of the victims will be seeking answers. Let's take a break. My thanks to our guests for joining us. Much more on the other side.